Hi, welcome to another, well, I guess this is a yearly studio report for All Is Fair and Dust and Air and the Broken Hammer Games Company. I'm the founder and CEO, project writer, project manager, a lot of little details that I handle on the company and for the project. And I'm going to go over this year-end report with you. So thank you for joining today. Try to keep things as quick and succinct as possible. We do have a kind of a little bit to go over throughout the year, although if you want to really see the individual reports, go to the monthly reports and you can check and see how this all stacks up. Mostly what I want to go into, what I especially want to go into, is how we really did in 2021. I mean, overall, it was a win year for us. We actually came through and we released Dust and Air on early access in January of 2021, and we saw it within about 6 months. We wanted to do July release to get out of early access, but we had to postpone that because there's some issues that came up with all the chaos that was going on in Europe, and we had team members moving at the same time, so we kind of had to push that off to September. But we did do the release from early access, and we are very happy with the results that has happened since we got out of early access. It was actually a lot better. Dust and Air has done a lot better overall on Steam sales and a lot of other stuff ever since we got out of early access. So that just is a testament to. I mean, the early access system is meant to kind of give a preview on games to help these game companies get more funding while they're getting stuff done. And it does do a little bit of that, but ultimately a lot of people are very distrustful of early access just because there's a lot of titles that get on the Steam that never leave early access. And the devs that do it, they get the money from early access and then they run. So that is not what we're doing, obviously. We are here. I am here still doing every single one of these reports, and I'm sure we have some people that are asking, why are you're a small visual novel company, why are you doing monthly reports like this? Why are you doing year-end reports like this? And that's just because we learned it from other devs, especially Muse Games. We've learned it from CIG, which is Robert Space Industries and Star Citizen and stuff, to keep people appraised of things, show what we're doing, show that we're not just like sitting on our butts, just getting fat and doing nothing the whole time. Oh, we are working on these things every day. Sometimes we're a little bit more busier than other days, but we want to keep people appraised, keep people aware that yes, development is still continuing. We are still resuming. Just because I know it builds confidence. Not only it helps us to remind us that yeah, we reach the end of the month, we have to get stuff done. So it keeps us on track, and also hopefully helps some of you which are watching or reading our posts and say, okay, yeah, these guys are still doing something. They're still working. So hopefully that's an encouragement to you. So let's go ahead and get into this year-end report. So overall, we saw a lot of good changes, not only to the project but also to the company. We had team members. I mean, our Russian artist finally got out of Russia. We were so happy for that. We were so glad he got out of Russia finally. He's now he moved to another country in Europe. It's a little bit more free there. And we were just the moment we heard that it was going to go down, we were just like, whatever you need to do. I mean, we needed his art assets at the time, but we definitely wanted to make sure he got out of Russia because it's been a long time coming, and we were very happy when that happened. So that was a great success thing that took place for some of our team members. I mean, real life stuff like this happens. This is the reality of game devs. I know a lot of people say, well, you're a game developer, you're just sitting in an office typing all day, it's just like focusing on no. I mean, these people have real lives. I mean, we work real jobs and things like that, and some of us got night jobs, other things to do that help bring more funds in for not only ourselves, our families, but also for the project. So yeah, there's been some nice advancements there. And we're now looking to go into Guinevere's story arc, Raven's Prayer, and those little jobs, those little odd things, those are helping it now and such. And these things that, in some ways, things that didn't open years before because of just lack of jobs around or the circumstances, things that like that those things changed in 2021 and 2020. There was a lot more job openings. There was a lot more little odd job. Companies were more looking like, oh yeah, if you don't have to work every day of the week, you can give up certain days and times so we can work on this project more. Then they were like, oh yeah, we just want people to work right now. So thankfully that's helped, and we've been able to boost a little bit of the production with a little bit of extra money and stuff coming in. We are also working on the, as you can see on the screen there, actually on this side, in the top corner, as they're just little images of our characters. Those are actually going to go on like hoodies like this thing, and we're doing some little merchandise that we're building, and we're going to post it probably on a Zazzle store. We got to double check a couple other things before we go live with all of them, make them open to the public. Those are just little things that if you want to support us more and you want a really nice little hoodie or something like that, it looks nice, it has a character art and asset on the back, then that is something that you can do that we're opening up. And honestly, I did all the testing for a lot of these. I've tried them out. This is one from Redbubble. It's soft, it feels nice. The problem is that the stitching is not as good as on Zazzle, so these are little things where we have to place an order to go ahead and try it out to see if it's going to work all right. Thankfully they have good return policies. Technically this thing was free, and this wasn't supposed to ship. I actually ran it back, said okay, no, we're not going to go with you guys, and they said, oh, it's already shipped, too late, get a refund. They said, oh well, hang on to it. Okay, how does that company make money? They're giving away they're giving away shirts and everything. So but anyways, like on the other things, like for Zazzle and stuff, you would have maybe something like this on the front, and then one of these images would be on the back. And we've done a couple of test models. There's already 3 testers out right now. One I sent one to Georgie, special Christmas gift since it's his art. I wanted to cheer him up, make him smile maybe. And then Ryan has one that he's testing right now, making sure positions and things are all right. So once we got those decided, we'll be putting those up. Anyways, this has been a blessing this whole year. I mean, I know there's a lot of people, probably Guns and Vigors community, that are like, you guys are never going to get this far. Your project's too big. Your story is like way too large. All these things, like, you're never going to get this far. And here we are. That's just like plugging away a little bit every day. We got it going. And I want to briefly talk about December. And we did wrap up production in December on our first major internal city, little street image background that Georgie was working on. He actually spent a long time on this, surprisingly. He came out and said he got into doing all the little details and stuff, so he had fun with it. And I will be detailing it. It's actually in the background around this right now, but it's covered up. I will show you a full-size shot. That is probably because we've been building little inside rooms, and now we're doing a first outside room. So we first thought let's build the cityscape and then we'll build the inside. Now we're like, no, we're going to build the inside, because Khan he's been having to work a lot more lately, so I haven't had him to be able to build the cityscape stuff. And we're hoping that he's going to get a little bit better schedule after the first of the year. Things are going to calm down for him, and we're working on another way to build the cityscapes and stuff. We would really like him for it, because he has done all the cityscapes for us, and he's just amazing when he just gets down to it and builds all the details of the city and the expansive image. So we did want to go into a little bit of what do you expect Eddings Cove City to look like, and this goes into some more on the written blog. You can see the actual post, you can see the actual text, but generally what we're thinking of is Eddings Cove. Obviously it's a cove, there's a cove of some kind, and see the Fjordlands are about fjords, so there's these big fjords, and then when you look at the map of that area, there's all these little big fjords, there's these waterways going out, so we need those 2 things for sure. So 2 fjords, and the idea behind Eddings Cove is it's going to be a terrace city. If you think about Lord of the Rings, Minas Tirith going up like that big city that's going up, that's terrace and cycling up, that is kind of an idea, except we're not going to make it like that. Minas Tirith is like more of a castle town. It's all compact, it's all climbing up individually, whereas Eddings Cove is likely going to be there's going to be like a hillside that's going to go up into the mountains. So when it does that, we're going to have a city that's going to be terracing up a hillside to a mountain, and then we have the Baron's keep or mansion on top. So the Baron is lord over all of it, and then we have the rest of the city below. As far as industry, as far as defensive encampments, what we're going to have is two, like around the fjord, we're going to have two little hills that are coming around down on the side. And one side's going to have your defensive batteries, you're going to have your warehouses, your airship hangars, and we have another side that's going to have like industrial type stuff or workshops, things that are making stuff. The overall idea of Eddings Cove is Eddings Cove because of, if you think about the Fjordlands, you have Fernfeld, and you have Anglia up here. They're attacking. You have attacks from Yesha, but you have the mountain range, which is a good natural defensive position. So everything goes to the mountain range or goes up here. So Eddings Cove is like way down here. There's not a lot of enemies that are going to attack it, so it's a little bit more of a peaceful place. We're envisioning it to be more of a farmland area on the approach. So when you're going into Eddings Cove, there's more farms, there's more things that are making crops for the rest of the Fjordlands. Eddings Cove right now, based on the topography and the area that we've analyzed, is that we're thinking this is more of the town that supplies a lot of the rest of the baronies and a lot of these other places. So Eddings Cove is going to have a bit more nutrients, a bit more food resources, things like that. So look for some ideas, borrow from fantasy ideas, and you'll be seeing that probably in 2022 for sure at some point, although we may not post, we may post some previews or some concept images of the final, because we like to save some stuff for the actual story when it does release. Definitely it's going to be different from other towns, because we have about 4 cityscapes that are going to be appearing in Raven's Prayer, and one of them is outside the Fjordlands. So there is a period where in the story where we go outside the Fjordlands a little bit, but the other ones are going to be all inside the Fjordlands. We're going to go through different cities. We're going to have probably Lord's Leap, things like that. And we got to figure, like, Lord's Leap, that's the capital. That's your big opulent place. That's your very rich architecture. Eddings Cove is a production town. It's a food town. It helps supply things, so it's not going to be as opulent as everywhere else. Then you have areas like Blackcliff, which would be maybe a lot of industries, because we know there's a refinery out there, so they're not going to be as lush in vegetation. We have different little towns in the barony, so when we build a cityscape, we have to consider the map, consider maybe possible wind patterns, rain patterns, how everything would fall in this city, and then how the city is going to look. So that's kind of our little bit of detailed on what Eddings Cove we're expecting it to look like, how it's going to come together all into one, and how we go about building it. Now, real quick, I might as well do this before I go into the next segment. I will go into some of our little, well, you know what? No, let me put this to the end. The other thing that we were hoping to do by the end of the year was to get the Android release out. Really, I was working on this off and on throughout the last couple months, trying to get something out. Then we found little issues with it, and we had to balance that with holiday schedules and trying to get all that stuff together. And we do have an Android build that has come out but it wasn't ready yet on the video and the audio end, so we had to convert all the audio over, the video over, to something that's better for Android support. So yeah, I mean, we're working on that. Really, it would have helped if there would have been some guides for the Android Studio, because the guides that Tyranno has up and a lot of the other devs have up, it's from the old days when it was like the Tyranno 1.0 stuff, so they showed you how to build stuff. They didn't update it with time. Things have changed, so we're kind of having to figure things out on our own. Michael's been a big help on that, and we're probably going to have him finish up an Android build before too long here, and probably early into maybe January we might get the Android build up. The other big thing was definitely managed to snag an M1 Mac, and it's going to be our primary office machine here for building iOS and Mac OS things. We wanted M1 because we knew that Apple's going to drop support for Intel eventually here. I mean, that's what they did before when they switched from RISC to x86 CISC. They ran for maybe a year or two supporting Risk, and then they all of a sudden dropped it and they went right into CISC with the Intel stuff. And so, yeah, we do have a little M1 thing. Thankfully it was like Best Buy had a 36-month like payment thing, and it was like all of a sudden at the end of the year they were really desperate to get some extra sales, and then there was like 2 other discounts we had, plus team members pitched in to help get it. So I was like, oh man, let's go ahead and do it. Let's get this out of the way. We were thinking about next year getting it, but we couldn't pass up on the deals, and now we got an M1 Mac, and we'll get Mac OS ports, Android ports, iOS ports all going. I did see Linux users in the wish list, so I will look into that. I don't want to leave you guys out, because there was some Linux users that added to the wish list that they're interested in this game. So definitely, I want to make something that's available to that platform if I can. We'll try to see if we can. I got like a spare machine I can throw Linux on, and we will see if I can test that in the weeks and months ahead. And it's not going to be like the #1 thing we're going to do, but we'll see if we can get that for you guys, because we want to support that platform. But our main focus right now is definitely mobile. Going into 2022, getting the mobile platforms going. It's going to be a bigger platform than Steam. It's going to be probably a lot more sales than Steam. That's what we've talked to a lot of devs, and they said, yeah, if all the money's in mobile right now, so we're looking into the mobile. Of course, that's our main motivation, is to get more funding. We can speed up the project. We can speed up all these things that we're doing. So look forward to that. And that's where here comes the tougher conversation that we got to have, which is involving the DLC story arcs and how those are going to release. Because now we're not just PC, we're Mac, we're iOS, we're Android, and those, we don't know how much of an issue it is. They're going to talk to each other to build DLC, and Tyranno does not have like a built-in DLC option. It's like, say, oh, make this a DLC add-on for this, and it just does it for us. They have improved some DLC stuff in the last patch. They did a few little like Tyranno script thing and a few other things which make it a little bit easier to do, but there's still some other issues with it. Mostly the save system is the problem that has been with Tyranno for a long time now. Other devs have figured out workarounds to kind of get around the save issue and deal with a lot of these other little problems that it has, and then it just comes down to the DLC, making sure that the game, whatever we install the DLC, talks with the game and works well and says, okay, this is going to work, it's going to expand, it's going to open up such and such, it's going to install the files in the right places, and that is another issue. And again, when we first started doing this for the crowdfunding, and look back years ago, we knew that Tyranno could do DLC because we read about it. We read it and we did a little bit of research that, okay, yeah, we can do this. We're going to get that DLC going. And now that we're here and now that we're seeing it, and the problem was is back then there wasn't a lot of devs that were doing big projects like us. So the information that was out there, the research that was out there said, oh yeah, we can do it. We've done these little tests things, we can do this, but nobody was really doing it yet. So the amount of guides and information now, since more people have tried doing it, and there's issues with it. We're not, to be very brutally honest, we don't feel a lot of peace about it. We don't feel a lot of peace that this is going to work, and then this is like going to be the way we got to do it now. I mean, before we were like, yeah, we saw it, we could say, yeah, we could do this. This is what our research is saying, and now things have kind of shifted, and we're looking at, okay, if we do the DLC the way we want it, is the save going to be able to work with that? Is it going to go over onto the new DLC? Is there going to be problems? And some people are saying, oh yeah, you can work this around, code this in so that it does do this the way you want, but then there's other people saying, yeah, but there's other issues that come up. So yeah, learning from Steam, getting on the Steam platform and seeing how they do the DLC loading from there, and then the Tyranno issues, it's all combined to kind of make us we're in the process of reevaluating, questioning. We've been doing it for months now, and we're still doing it because we're trying to research every possible option to see what we can do to make sure we can do it the way that we originally wanted it done. And that was for the crowdfunding and stuff. And partially, that's mostly for those that basically backed us during the crowdfunding, because we said, yeah, we're going to do DLC, and you fund us for this month, you'll get the full story. And if we, right now, if we decided to change, our option, the leading option we have, is to just, well, we're just going to raise price of the game as we add content into it. And so the price is going to go up over time, but those that basically buy now are basically going to own everything. And I know the backers, those that backed for the whole thing, are like, well, what was our point in spending X amount of dollars more when, you know, these people that have spent less are getting it for free now? So we do have to consider that. And do we have to offer something else? Do we have to offer something for them to, I mean, because we want to be right. We want to do this right by our backers. And this was something that was unforeseen. We really did not have all the information we needed back then to do this. We thought from all our information back then and said this was going to work. Then it changed. So that is going to be something that we're going to have to decide on before we release Raven's Prayer. So at least we do have a little bit more time. We are going to exhaust every option to figure this out. And we'll have to probably update this probably sometime in 2022. Where we're gonna do this. That's just how we're gonna have to do it. So that's probably the only down part of this entire report, is that, yeah, we're now dealing with this looming thing over our head regarding what we're gonna do about the DLC. So we can't say to buy now because you're going to get it all for free, because we're not 100% decided, but right now it's kind of the leading thing that we're looking at that might resolve the issues for both the backers, the development side, and make everything work better. But we're going to try it first. Okay, so we want to make, so there's nothing official yet. The other thing we want to do, lastly, as we close, it's another little late-breaking announcement, is that Project 2 is entering active production. We're getting our first assets built for it. So Project 2 is, we did a meeting a few months ago, and Project 2 has been kind of like a very internal sort of thing that we've had on the side. I wrote the initial story a few years ago, and I basically put it on the shelf for a time. And I figured, well, we're going to do this, but it's eventually down the line. And then we decided, well, let's start looking for artists, and maybe we can add on to the project to help, so we can have two different teams working, and maybe the teams can work with each other at times, different things. We can swap from Project 2 people, Project 1, and we're happy to say now at the end of this year that now we got the first finalized assets that are being built for it. And we're starting with the characters first, so that is going to be happening. We also detailed to the rest of the team, the rest of the ones that didn't know yet. So for the internal ones, definitely the ones that have been busy with other things, we detailed what it's about. It's going to be a Christmas story visual novel, and we would love to have it ready by 2023 holiday season. We'll see, depending on how fast we can get things going. We're not focusing 100% of our effort on that right now. Our most of our efforts on Dust and Air, but this is just another thing that we have a character list right now. We're just shooting things off to Ingrid to get them built, to get them made. So that is taking place. We don't expect impact on Dust and Air to be anything really, because it's going to be worked on by a different team. I'm the only one that's going to be basically working between both projects at times. Ryan is going to help out too. The story, of course, is comparable to what we have right out now. It's the Cathedral arc, the little neutral arc story of Dust and Air. If you played it, or if you've seen how many word count it is, that's roughly what this Project 2 story is going to be in size. Maybe a little bit smaller, since it only has a cast of about 40 people. So smaller cast, a smaller story. We're not going to be as heavy on the assets as we are with Dust and Air, so it's going to be a little bit improved in that area. Either way, it's shaping up to be a very good year for 2022, busy and exciting. We're going to be seeing some new advances onto mobile platforms. Project 2, we should have some more finalized assets besides concept assets that we've been working on internally. We'll be able to start maybe showcasing a little bit of that. Oh, as far as the release on Project 2, we probably will not be doing early access or crowdfunding on that. We'd rather this project go straight to release. So when that does release, we probably will post it maybe 6 months to a year before, so we'll have it up on Steam, detailing it to build up a wish list to show people that, hey, it's coming. And then finally when we do a release, yeah, it's going to just go straight on in. So that's it really for this year-end report. There might be some few little tidbits and details you can read in the regular blog. I will showcase some images right now, since I want to do that, to kind of show some of the other stuff that we're working on. And let me just turn it on here. So this is the street image, downtown Eddings Cove, that we have right now. And this is just one time of day shot. There's going to be some other time of days. We're going to have a night shot. We're going to have a rainy shot. Eddings Cove, we're projecting to be a little bit of a rainy place in many ways, so we will have a little bit of a rain thing that's happening. Yeah, we'll be probably showcasing more in the days to come, but this is what Georgie was spending a lot of the time on. He's really did a lot of intricate details and stuff. It turned out really well. It's a good start, and this is going to lead into our big cityscape concept. Now, these are some other concepts from Con. We might have showcased some of these or some of them, but this is some other stuff for this City of Eddings Cove that we're looking at. Some of it may get put into the final design, some of it may not. Again, these are just concepts we're looking at. As you can see, it's supposed to be a mountain place. It's supposed to be climbing. It's supposed to be more vertical, like you're going up through the city, not flat. So that'll be coming in line. And then I just want to showcase very briefly a concept for our Project 2 lead character, and we'll just detail that a little bit here. And this is done by Ryan. Ryan's been kind of working on concepts and stuff, and he did this probably some months ago, but we will be building from this in the days to come. We'll be showing some more concepts for Project 2 and how that's going to turn out. So anyways, that is it for our 2021 year-end report. Thank you for joining us this year. If you are new to following this project, we're happy to have you. Hope that you stay with us in 2022 and beyond to see this all come to fruition, to see Dust and Air completed, every single story arc, and yeah, see also Project 2 and whatever else we have brewing be behind the scenes. So thank you again for joining. See you in the skies. Jenny.